What if Overwatch and Warhammer 40k had a collaboration? Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. It's not my usual type of video today, a little one-off, just for a bit of fun. So don't think that this will be the norm from now on. Also, this is my third time recording this entry due to technical issues, so if this entry doesn't make it onto YouTube, I'm just going to take it as a sign. These days, Warhammer 40k is on the rise. Not just in terms of profits and in-universe advancing storylines, but also in terms of mainstream media. We have Warhammer TV creating series, Henry Cavill still talking about an Amazon show, and of course Space Marine 2, which sadly I have not had the pleasure of playing yet. But to not forget, we also saw a collaboration with Call of Duty a while ago, and that one felt a bit rubbish to me. COD always wanted to be realistic, whereas Warhammer 40k is caricature in its finest form, and the Space Marine skins on normal characters looked underwhelming to say the least. I'm glad they did it, I just wasn't blown away. However, aside from Warhammer 40k, I also love to play Overwatch. Both universes have a vast array of heroes, each with incredibly unique abilities, and come with a toxic player base. Although I have to admit that Overwatch has far more toxicity than the grimdark caricature of the far future, filled with horror, despair, and suffering. Ironic, right? However, I've noticed that quite a few other people love both as well. And so we come to the crux of the matter. What if we ever saw a collaboration between Overwatch and Warhammer 40k? What skins would Overwatch have? Well, to save the devs some work, I already came up with some ideas for the roster. You're welcome, guys. Now we shall let chaos reign and list off in no particular order whatsoever. Starting with Roadhog, the resident fat boy of Overwatch. Armed with a scrap gun and somehow more health than a futuristic armored knight. There is one character that he fits perfectly for me. Ogryn. Yes, those abhumans that are as sharp as marbles. Even the skin name would be Hogryn. It's perfect. These two fit together better than the Corpse Emperor into his tomb throne. You'd barely need to change his original skin as well, although I wouldn't say no to a Great Unclean One skin for him as well. It absolutely plays into his personality. Next we have Mercy. And I chose Mercy next because you know that Mercy's skins always sell well. Between them and KIRO, they are single-handedly supporting Blizzard. Mercy mains have an addiction to buying skins that rivals our addiction to purchasing new models before our old ones have been painted. And she would make an amazing Saint Celestine. She already has the wings and the halo. I mean, come on. Next, Junkrat. Yes, our little disorder-loving kleptomaniac needs his own skin. And for a while, I was thinking of rattlings from 40k. The downside is that those little fellas need to be accurate. And unless you're top 500, no one playing Junkrat is accurate. Therefore, I propose he would be a Mad Orc Doc. He already has the insanity and the voice to match, and his equipment is made up of scraps and screws and clearly shouldn't function at all. And with his love for stealing things, I propose he is a Mad Orc Doc serving as a freebooter. Reinhardt. Precision German engineering has given this man the ability to project an enormous shield, charge into enemy lines, swing his enormous hammer to crush his foes, and of course, to solo ult enemy mercies at every turn. Honor, justice, Reinhardt, Reinhardt, Reinhardt. This paragon of virtue needs to be tucked into a golden skin to forever protect his emperor against the enemy. As a Custodes skin, he would forego his hammer, to be replaced with a great guardian spear that would cut through enemies like a hot knife through butter. The bolt caster built in would also serve as his fire strike. Honestly, this is one of the skins that I would happily open my wallet for, but I'd also totally understand if they made him into a thunder hammer wielding Terminator. Or even a Grey Knight. Widowmaker, the second best sniper in Overwatch, because Ana is clearly superior. Her skin is a cut and dry deal, Vindicare assassin. Honestly, if you just slap on some cosmetics, she's basically already there. Not much to say here, so let's crack on, shall we? Next we have Mang. Just delete him from the game. I'm joking, of course. Kind of. Dual-wielding 2 enormous guns and with a second cybernetic heart, I would table him as wielding Stormbolters, until I thought of a different idea. Eversaw Assassin. Eversaws undergo cybernetic and genetic augmentations, as well as cocktails of combat stims. Cardiac overdrive, anyone? They are so rage-filled and will happily annihilate everything within their target vicinity that they are kept in cryostasis between missions. Honestly, Maunger would be the perfect Eversaw for me. Or again, they could just delete him from the game and I would be equally happy. And on the subject of assassins, we have Ekko. Her ultimate is the ability to morph into the shape of an opponent and use their abilities and their own ultimates. Now sound familiar in 40k? Well, it should. I'd make her a Calidus assassin. Using the polymorphine drug, they can change their shapes and appearances. It's a very bland one, so let's move on a little quicker now to not keep you too bored. Genji. He's an acrobatic little bastard that is a nightmare to hit, especially if you are trying to heal him. He will flip, double jump and wall climb all over the place. Combined with his reactions, allowing him to deflect incoming projectile weapons with his blade, I propose that he would be a Harlequin, the most mysterious of the Eldari warriors, those whose movements flicker through space, deceiving the eyes as they dance their choreography in battles. All good reasons. Plus, I think that seeing a ninja in motley colors would just be excellent. Reaper. Yes, everyone's favorite edgelord. Dark, moody, half-living in constant agony with the ability to teleport through shadow and phase out of reality in a cloud of dark smoke. While a part of me thought he could serve as a Night Lord or Raven Guard, it just didn't sit right. Until I thought some more and realized. Mandrake. The Mandrakes of Cormorag exist both in the Materium and a shadow world that may be part of the Immaterium. They slide through shadows, appearing where least expected. They are the absence of light given life. And almost all of Reaper's voice lines fit. From the shadows and all that. Torbjörn, the Swedish inventor. Genius with technology. Obstinate. Builds incredible turrets and defense systems. And is, shall we say vertically challenged? If there was a better fit for the kin from the Leagues of Votan, please point it out to me. Enough said for this fellow and his Swedish meatballs. And now for his daughter Brigita. She is a support, with a personal shield. However, that doesn't stop her from cracking her whip flail across opponents and activating her ability Inspire. This ability was the reason I've selected her for her Warhammer 40k comparison. She wouldn't just be a sister of battle, but an imagifier. I've actually never heard this word out loud, I've only seen it written down, so I'm not sure how to pronounce it. These warriors bear a carved image of a revered martyr inspiring those battle sisters around them. That and the fact that Brigita already has a form of power armor makes her the perfect fit for this unit. But enough of the loyalists. Let's take a look at the next hero in the roster, Doomfist. This heartless leader of Talon believes that struggle proves strength, and that only the strongest of humanity should survive. He's also an incredible close quarters fighter, diving into the enemy lines and usually dying, but that's just Doomfist players in general. For him, I would put him as a Cornate champion. No, he doesn't wield a chain axe, but his motivations, abilities, and overall look would make for an epic Cornate skin, presumably with an emote crushing a skull in his hand. Get him yelling blood for the blood god as he powers up his fist to smash enemies into walls. Soan. Throne of Terror, she is boring. Which is a shame because Cherise Booth, the voice actress, is incredible. But somehow the character herself has the least personality in all of Overwatch. Her only standout skill is an excellent rifle, capable of both long-range precision shots and spraying targets in medium range. Combine that with her cybernetic aesthetic and I propose she could make a half-decent fire warrior of the Tau. Let's talk about everyone's favorite tank, Orisa. This centaur-like robot doesn't just have a vast array of limbs, but also abilities. From a spinning javelin, fortified armor, and more, she is a walking powerhouse. And also a pain in the ass to classify in this list. Her body shape is difficult to skin into something from Warhammer 40k, so I leave it up to you, dear listeners. 1. She could be a tyrannid organism, a slavering-jawed broodlord or immense tyrannid warrior, the likes of which are terrifying from afar and even more dangerous up close. Or a particularly twisted grotesque, dark, muscle-enhanced abominations of flesh wrought from the dark minds of the homunculi of the Dark Eldar. Yes, she has too many limbs, but some artistic interpretation could be made here. Or finally, a Necron Destroyer. Now, Cassidy, or McCree if you recall Overwatch 1, is up next, and I am torn. This rugged cowboy could go one of two ways if you ask me. For him, I could see him both as an Inquisitor or a Commissar. Now hear me out. His pistol and various hats could easily see him reskinned as a Commissar, yelling at his allies to get back into battle. It makes sense, right? However, in my head, I really want to hear Matthew Mercer voice acting as Inquisitor Eisenhorn. So maybe that's just my personal preferences coming into play. What do you think? Let's pop back to the supports for a second and talk about Moira. This geneticist has a dark and cruel streak within her, constantly employing morally questionable experiments in an effort to extend life itself. She is the cause of Reaper's half-life and eternal pain, and I would absolutely place her as a member of the Drukhari, but more specifically, a homunculus. These are ancient lords of pain, capable of recrafting flesh and torturing souls on levels unknown to the rest of the universe. Masters of biology and nightmares both. But in contrast to Moira, let's discuss the himbo Lifeweaver. His personality positively sparkles in the game while healing his allies. His creations of hard light can raise platforms or create a vast tree that heals those within its vicinity. Hence why I would name him one of the Asuryani. He could be skinned as a Farseer and use warp skills to form his creations, or as an adept bone singer, using the sound of his voice to grow and shape Wraithbone according to his needs. He's an absolute fairy, and I love Lifeweaver players. Apart from that one last night who stopped me getting a team wipe as Reinhardt because he life-gripped me. You know who you are. Moving on. Now everyone's favorite Mexican. Yes, it's Sombra. You know her and you hate her. Luckily for everyone, she's just been nerfed into the realm of unplayable now. This sneaky invisible hacker has the ability to shut down enemy ultimates, eliminate key targets in the backline, and otherwise wreak merry hell on all who cross her. Or she used to, at least. Her hacking abilities did make me consider some form of specialized Martian Skitari saboteur, but then I remembered. Alpha Legion makes heavy use of human components within their plots and plans to undermine, damage, and outmaneuver their enemies. So give her a blue-green scaled skin and slap a Hydra tattoo on her. Hydra Dominatus, baby. We haven't shown much love to the tanks, have we? So let's crack on with Wrecking Ball. Or rather, Hammond the hamster who controls this rolling machine of death. Trying to pin this nutjob down is a task and a half, and his cannons are surprisingly strong at close range. So I say that Wrecking Ball would be a killer can from the Orcs. Yes, I know they are bipedal walkers, however they do rain down death and destruction from a close range, and are piloted by angry, ill-tempered little grots who pilot the entire killer can from the inside of the machine. And I'm fairly sure that both Hammond and a Gretchen would bite your ankles if they ever left these machines. Now let's look at the crazy doctor, Sigma. Don't say it, I know you want to. This man is cursed with insanity, yet blessed with mind-blowing powers over gravity. He can create black holes at a whim, project shields, absorb kinetic energy, and more. And let's not forget, he literally floats into battle, which makes me consider him to be a Thousand Suns sorcerer, flying into battle on a disc of Tzientch, Using his enhanced warp powers, he can still perform all his abilities. And let's be honest, the Thousand Suns and their players are all a little bit nuts. KIRO. After Mercy, this is the other money bag for Blizzard, with KIRO players investing heavily on skins. This hero's mystical powers include the ability to cleanse allied players of negative status effects, which is the primary reason I've come up with a Warhammer 40k skin idea for her. A Sister of Silence. The Sisters of Silence are pariahs. Born without a soul, their very presence can nullify warp energies, snuff out the powers of the archenemy, and weaken the existence of demons within the Materium. Plus, if she's a Sister of Silence, maybe it will stop all the annoying voice lines she constantly has? But maybe not. If you have a better idea for her, I'd love to hear it down below. Farah. This hero can fly above the battlefield, raining down missiles onto enemies near and far. Her three-dimensional movement abilities make her difficult to hit, thanks to her personalized flight suit. And her ultimate is a barrage of firepower that overwhelms even the strongest of shields. Now, while she may be too small for the 40k unit that I am thinking of, I would say that she could easily have the skin of an XV8 broadside battlesuit, or something similar from the Tau. Serving the greater good in conjunction with the Soan Fire Warrior skin would be fairly badass. Continuing on, let's talk Lucio, my boy, my Frogger. He has insane movement abilities, wall riding high on the terrain and jumping across distances to dive Widowmakers. His kit utilizes sound waves to aid his allies, and use a concentrated burst to boop enemies away from himself. Now, maybe I'm reaching here and maybe I'm totally off base, but could we make him sort of a Slaneshi champion? Noise Marines in 40k obviously use sonic weapons capable of traveling through matter to obliterate not just the hearing of enemies, but their bodies as well. So slap him up in some twisted purple image and give his sound waves a more hellish tinge, and I'd say it's a damn good skin. Plus, Frogger would go absolutely feral for that stuff. Soldier. Everyone's first character in Overwatch, the spry old dog is a classic. Military veteran, pretty serious when it comes to a fight, and always willing to have a good steak. I wouldn't place him as a commissar so much as I would place him as a Kassakin, or slap him up as a Tempestus Scion. Either way, I would be happy about it, because I'd love some more decent skins for the fella. Bastion. This fan-favorite robot is a killing machine, and yet also the sweetest little beeping guy you've ever met. His turret can whittle down enemies quickly and efficiently, all the while mumbling a happy little tune. But what if he wasn't a happy boy? What if this robot, bereft of his newfound personality, hated humanity, hated life itself? What if he dreamt of nothing more than solitude and peace, and a sterile galaxy devoid of life? Enter the glowing Necron skin for Bastion. Living metal armed with a glowing green weapon, ready to kill and kill and kill until there are none left to disturb him. Plus he and Orisa would look stunning together as scions of the Silent King. Ana. Ana mains, you are angels. Patient and kind as you deal with idiot tanks and DPS overextending beyond your line of sight. You are calm, directly aiding the battle by keeping your teammates alive from a distance. But you aren't afraid to crack out your sniper skills or take down a flanking hero by sending them to sleep. So I do declare that Ana would get the skin of a Sister Hospitaller. These deft healers provide support to the injured across all fronts of the Imperium of Man, yet they are more than capable of immersing themselves within the battle. Their extensive knowledge of biology, combined with their calmness, also makes them ideal to aid Inquisitors in their interrogations. Also, I really want another Ana skin, so just please make this one happen. Junker Queen. This Aussie powerhouse came to power in Junk City. Her stamina, her ferocity, her rippling muscles allow her to overwhelm opponents with bloody knives and commanding shouts. Nothing could suit Junker Queen more than giving her a Catachan skin. These elite troops, born and raised in the jungle of Space Australia... Oh, sorry, I mean Catachan. allow them to be killers, survivors, and experts in renegade warfare. Yes, Katachan is Space Australia, as everything on the planet can kill you. The flora and fauna will incapacitate and kill humans in 1,000 different ways, so it's just a perfect matchup, at least in my head. Ash. This cowgirl comes with a mean friend to back her up. Armed with a rifle, some dynamite, and her trusty butler Bob, she brings a variety of firepower to each engagement. Now hear me out on this one. She is a sorcerer, or at least she could be. Now she already has some demon-esque witchy skins, but what I'd look for would be a dynamite changed into more spell explosion vibe, and Bob running in like a horror of Tzeentch, all tentacles and mass and firing wildly at those nearby. But I could equally see her as a witch hunter from the Inquisition. Either way. Diva. The mecha pilot from Korea straps herself into her technologically advanced warframe and fires spread shots and missiles from a distance. With her ultimate, she can also launch the entire vehicle in a self-detonation, annihilating enemies in the near vicinity, and even some not nearby. Get your shit together, devs. Now it does sound very Gundam-esque, and I understand that many would assume that she should get a Tau skin. But I would give her the skin of a Scout Titan, probably a Warhound class. Why she should get a Mechanicus skin rather than a Tau skin? I don't know. I'm basing this decision purely on vibes at this point. You can argue down below in the comments section. Venture. This scallywag is a terrifying DPS to go up against in close quarters. Their archaeological tool doubles as a weapon. It can bore down through dirt and metal and allow them to travel underneath the map, and also fire explosive balls that rip through your defenses. My hot take on Venture: make them a Necromunda Hive ganger. Clearly, this weapon would be overtly powerful in the depths of a Hive city. Bring some savagery to this relatively new character. Or at least a decent skin. Ramatra. An Omnic that wishes to lead a revolution against humanity for the loss of his brother and sister Omnics. His technological abilities offer defense, attack, and transformation into a multi-limbed brawl tank that is terrifying up close. So slap on a red robe and we have a formidable close quarters specialist of the Adeptus Mechanicus. He would fight for the Omnisire rather than just Omnics, and having some Mechadendrites would just make his nemesis form even more terrifying. Or alternatively, we can round out the Necron host nicely by making him Sarek, the Silent King. Honestly, I'm leaning more towards this one because he would look very badass. Winston. No aim, no brain, Winston main. All of you playing Winton, the enormous, genetically altered gorilla, jump in with a Tesla cannon, deploy your shield, pick on the supports and dive back out. Honestly, I considered giving him a Jokero skin in this entry, but that would leave him looking like just an orangutan with nothing special at all. So I would say slap some green on him and make him an Orc warboss. Probably a Storm Boy that's somehow risen to power, but it could work. That leaves us with a few heroes left: Zarya, Hanzo, Tracer, Mei, Symmetra, Iliari, Baptiste, and Juno. Honestly, these heroes gave me the hardest time deciding on Warhammer 40k skins. So I'm going to leave it up to you in the comments to see what they should be. I considered making Zarya a Terminator, but it didn't seem quite right. Hanzo didn't really fit with anything, but I thought about making an honorable mention of the Interrex with their futuristic bows. Tracer could be a member of the mysterious Ordo Kronos, thanks to her time powers. Baptiste would probably be something Mechanicus, thanks to his amplification matrix and other abilities. Yet Juno's entire personality is about being from Mars. So what do you think? Comment, argue, and fight down below, but do so respectfully, of course. Finally, a special mention to the new Scottish hero coming out in the next season. I have longed for a Scottish character and I just always wanted it to be voiced by Ragtag, but now at least we can have someone from the Tanith first and only. But finally, a big question. If a collaboration was on the cards between Overwatch and Warhammer 40k, would we even want it? Honestly, I'm not sure. The caricature and satire of 40k is entirely unique. All the suffering, darkness, and nightmarish horror of the 41st millennium probably wouldn't translate well into Overwatch, or at least not on the scale that this video suggests. However, if 1 or 2 special skins were made, and they were excellently done, I'll confess that I would probably buy them. And I haven't bought any skins from Blizzard. Apart from that Mercy skin that was for the cancer charity, as long as they are decently priced and well done, then I might waste some money on them. But then again, I've spent far too much in my life on the plastic crack that they sell from Games Workshop. But would you? And with that said, please feel free to like, subscribe, comment something, anything you wish me to touch upon more in the future. Your input is welcome as, well, without you, no one would be listening. Now do enjoy your day or night, and I hope you've indulged in some escapism from reality, for that's why we are here, isn't it? Until next time.